Laurie Partridge, 17, was last seen in Spokane after she left her high school around 12:30 p.m. on December 4th, 1974 because she was experiencing severe cramps. She wasn't able to find a ride home, so she decided to walk the 2 miles to her home and was last seen walking south on Havana Street near 37th Avenue. Witnesses say they saw a green Ford Pinto station wagon in the area at the time that looked like it was following her. Laurie never made it home, and she has never been seen or heard from again, and her little sister Taryn is still fighting to bring her home. Her case remains unsolved. We are in our 29th week, and we are still in Washington. In December of 1974, Laurie was engaged to her 20-year-old boyfriend and planning to select an engagement ring the day of her disappearance. She worked at her high school newspaper and was on the school drill team. Laurie was the oldest of 5 siblings, and they had just moved from California to Spokane a few months before she vanished, and she always said she would like to go back to California. On December 4th, 1974, Laurie was suffering from severe menstrual cramps and wanted to go home. She first attempted to find a ride, but when she wasn't able to, she decided to walk home. Witnesses reported seeing her walking south on Havana Street near 37th Avenue. And there were reports from other witnesses that said there was a green Ford Pinto station wagon in the area that looked like it could be possibly following Laurie. When Laurie didn't arrive home and didn't show up for her job at the local movie theater, that's when her father knew something was wrong. He took her siblings and they went out and looked for her. When her father couldn't locate her, her parents reported her missing right away. Initially, investigators believed Laurie was most likely a runaway because she had just moved from Spokane and had told friends and family that she wanted to be back in California. Laurie's family said it did take time for law enforcement to take her case seriously. She hadn't taken any of her belongings and she was recently engaged. She had a family she adored, and her family knew that she was most likely abducted or murdered because she wouldn't have just walked away from her life. Laurie's dad had just purchased her tickets to the Beach Boys concert, so investigators decided that they would head over to the concert to see if Laurie arrived. There was no sight of Laurie at the concert. They later determined that Laurie's tickets were used at the concert, but they were not able to identify who had used them. Investigators were able to find contents of Laurie's purse in the area. She was last seen 2 days before her disappearance, and those Beach Boys tickets were likely in her purse. Taryn said that the green Ford Pinto station wagon had California plates and had been following her in the days before her disappearance, and she believes that this was most likely her ex-boyfriend who was still living in California at the time. Taryn said that Laurie's relationship did not end amicably with this ex and that he wasn't a nice guy. She said that this guy had the attitude of, if I can't have you, nobody can, and she remembers that he drove a bluish-green car like that. Taryn has reached out to the ex-boyfriend to try to get information about where he was during the time his sister disappeared, but he refuses to speak to her. In 2011, neighbors of Laurie's, who was the same age as her at the time she disappeared, came forward and said that she believes she saw Laurie nearby a horse riding field that day around 4 p.m. with a man in his 40s or 50s and a white truck. This woman also claimed that the man was holding a rifle. Many people have tried to tie Laurie's case to a well-known serial killer, but investigators say they've been able to confirm that this well-known serial killer was in Salt Lake City at the time of her disappearance, and say that he has been clearly ruled out as a suspect in her case. And said at this point, tips will occasionally come in and investigators do take them seriously, and most of them are about unidentified remains being a possible match to her sister. Taryn says that she welcomes all tips and they are all worth following up on. Laurie's mother passed away in 2004 and her father in 2022, and her other sister just recently passed in March of 2024, all of them without ever knowing what happened to Laurie. Taryn remembers her sister as lively, kind, and family-oriented, and she spent a lot of time with her. She was just 6 years old when her sister disappeared, and she said, quote, "I just loved her," end quote. When Laurie vanished, her parents kept her room the same, and her Christmas presents were never unwrapped. Before her mother passed away, Taryn was given all of Lauren's belongings and the rest of her things and is now the keeper of her sister's memory and her case. She told the Spokane Review in 2024 that she will continue to work the case herself, doing whatever needs to be done. She said, quote, "We need somebody to come forward and help us solve this for our family. This needs to be resolved," end quote. At the time of Laurie's disappearance, she was 17 years old, 5 feet, and 110 pounds. She was described as a Caucasian female with blonde hair and blue eyes and had a brown mole on her right cheek. Laurie was last seen wearing a long hooded navy blue wool coat similar to a monk's robe. a brown sweater, burgundy and tan plaid pants, and faded blue denim Oxford shoes, and was carrying a leather purse with a blue flower design and a braided shoulder strap. If you have any information in Laurie's case, you are asked to call the Spokane County Sheriff's Office at 509-477-2240. Please keep sharing Laurie's face. You can help in Taryn's mission to follow every lead by continuing to share her case wherever you can. Thank you so much for taking the time to get to know Laurie today. And don't forget, when you see those missing and murdered posts on social media, share. Because every time we share a face, we do get closer to solving a case. And I will see you all back here tomorrow for another day in Washington.